everyone. Today we have taken some important questions from the latest MCQ papers of IGCSE. Hope this will be useful. So the first question is, the diagram shows a vertical section through the part of the human eye. A fly is coming near to the eye and the eye begins to focus the image on the fly on the retina. Okay, so before that, you should know the parts of the eye. Okay, so this is a fly and let us just label the parts. So R, everybody knows, is the lens. Now S is the suspensory ligament. So you know that the suspensory ligament suspends the lens properly. So this is the suspensory ligament. And the structure Q is the ciliary muscle. Okay, so there's a ciliary body which has the ciliary muscle. So all these structures are involved in the, how the eye accommodates itself to view a far object or a near object. In this case, the eye begins to focus its image, like the fly's image has to be formed on the retina. Okay, since the fly is situated nearer, okay, so we have learned that when an object is nearer, how the eye gets accommodated. Okay, so the lens becomes thicker. Okay, the ciliary body contracts. That makes the lens thicker, that means fatter. Okay, thicker and fatter. And the suspensory ligament slackens, that means they become lesser, right? So here clearly you can see this image is actually what is being asked in the question. So the correct answer would be Q. So our Q is ciliary body or the ciliary muscle. So the ciliary muscle. So what happens to the ciliary muscle? The ciliary muscle will contract. Okay, the ciliary muscle contracts. The lens, which is the R, becomes fatter, and the S is the suspensory ligament that becomes slacker. So the correct answer for this question is going to be a C. Okay. Next. This is a question from genetics, and you can see that, it shows a pedigree chart, and where, the circle represents female and the square represents a male. This is female, you already know. So you've seen that, these are all generations shown. So what can we say in this situation? And how do we approach such questions? So just go very slow. Just see the pedigree chart properly and then make some key observations. Okay, so the first observation that we make over here is in every generation. Okay, so this is a mother and a father. Okay, this is the first generation with 3 children. You can see this is affected. Now here there's this mother and a father, and then 3 children, this daughter is affected. Now these affected parents, they produce again, there is a son who is affected. So the first observation is that affected individuals appear every generation. So affected appear every generation. This is one observation. Go. So next is, you can see that male and female are equally affected. From this pedigree, you cannot say that only male is affected, only female is affected. Male is also affected and female is also affected. So male, female as well as male, both affected. So female and male, both affected. Okay, this is my key observation 2. Now, when you cross, make an observation very carefully. When you cross an affected parent with an unaffected parent, so here there's an affected parent and this unaffected, similar situation over here, what do you get? You produce unaffected as well as affected. This also shows that, this is actually by a dominant allele, because one dose of the allele also is producing the disease. And we can already, rule off recessive alleles. Okay, we can rule off recessive alleles, and there's no sex link because both sexes affected equally. Both affected equally. Okay, we can rule recessive because affected and affected is also giving, affected and affected is also giving an unaffected child. So we rule off this recessive. We rule off this recessive. So what is, and of course it is not codominant, of course it is not codominant because there's no intermediate phenotype. There's no intermediate phenotype, it's not intermediate, whether it is affected, whether it is not affected. So no intermediate phenotype. Okay. Hence, the answer will be it is caused by a dominant allele, and the option B stands for the correct answer. I hope you all have understood. So go step by step, slow. Next question is, it's very easy related to the environment. So the process listed above affect the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Which processes increase the carbon dioxide? Okay, just mark what is asked so that you do not make mistakes in this. Right. So processes leading to increase. So here increased deforestation, of course, if you cut the trees, the amount of carbon dioxide will be more because less of photosynthesis. Increased planting cannot be, because when you increase the planting of trees, what is going to happen? Carbon dioxide will decrease carbon dioxide. Decrease fossil fuel combustion will decrease carbon dioxide. You're not burning fossil fuels, you are producing less carbon dioxide. Increased fossil fuel combustion, of course, will produce carbon dioxide. Okay, so according to the statements, option 1 and option 4 are in place. Hence, the answer is B. Okay, next question is, which of the organisms can be sources of energy for decomposers? So you must know decomposers are basically bacteria or fungi. And what do they do? What do they do? What do bacteria and fungi do? They convert plant and animal dead bodies into organic matter. Okay. So which organisms can be sources of decomposers? Of course, producer body, that is plant and animal, plant dies and then it can be converted into organic matter or soil by the fungi or bacteria. So this is also correct. Herbivores also die and the dead bodies are finally decomposed by fungi and bacteria, even carnivores. So we can say that decomposers feed on dead producers, feed on dead producers, dead herbivores. All of them are decomposed by these bacteria and fungi, and of course carnivores also. So don't make a mistake, this is a very basic question, and all the levels, all the animals and plants will be decomposed by bacteria and fungi. So the answer is A over here. And the last question for today is, a coral reef contains species such as stony corals, etc. and sponges, seahorses, whale, sharks. Okay, so first of all, coral reef is like a, tropical rainforest of the aquatic system. It is the area where there is warmth, water is shallow, so there is like abundant organisms. These species interact and are affected by temperature, salt, oxygen, etc. Now, using all this information, what can you say or what is described? Okay, what can you say? Now see, here you can see that biotic factors are involved. Okay, biotic means living factors are involved. So biotic factors are all these living organisms, the corals, sponges, etc. All of them which are mentioned in the question, all of these are all biotic. As well as abiotic factors are also involved, like temperature, salt, concentration. So abiotic factors are also involved. So since biotic and abiotic factors, that this is an ecosystem. So the answer will be B. This is an ecosystem. So these are 4 important questions and the answers explained. I hope you find them useful. And stay tuned. We will just meet tomorrow to post another important set of questions. Thank you so much.